The modifier event is one of our most versatile tools. Its main goal and purpose is to modify upstream data procedurally. That means that it's not actually changing or overriding those values, and it allows a user to try multiple different types of scenarios without having to copy, paste, change, repeat the source information in the upstream event. Let's take a closer look. In this example scenario, we have two debit credit events. We have one here with $10,000 monthly starting May 1st, and we have a second one with $4,565 starting February 1st of 2022. So we're going to start by looking at some of these modifiers one by one. The first one is a percent change. So in the modifier event, you can select what kind of mode that you want to have here. You have the ability to target a very specific event or any upstream event with a set of properties to it. And then you can select the events and the type, but the main state change here is the modifier type. And we currently support 3 and soon a 4th. You can have a percent change, a value replacement, an add to value, and coming soon will be compound growth. So we're going to start with a percent change here. What we're doing here is we're saying that we want to take a look at the example 1 event, which has a value of $10,000, and we want to do a global percent change of 85%. And you'll notice that there are no dates here. So if we bypass number 2, expose this right now, and we'll see we have that $10,000. Now if we remove the bypass on this event, you'll see that 10,000 now becomes 18,500. That 85% is now applied universally to this event. Next up, we have a value replacement. In this event here, we're now replacing the value as opposed to a percentage change. And you notice that we actually have a custom effect period and a start date of September 1st. So if we remove the bypass here, you'll now see that we went from $10,000 and then a value replacement of $5,000, but only starting on that start date that was identified in that event. Next up, we're going to look at add to value. Add to value allows you to take the current value and explicitly set a plus or minus value to this one. Here you'll see we have a start date and an end date. Here the value reverts back to the previous value when the modifier is complete. So now you can see our $10,000, the additional $8,522, and then the value reverts back to $10,000 afterwards. Next up, we're looking at a date change. In the date change, we're now affecting example number 2 here, and we're looking at replacing a date. So right now, example number 2 starts here on February. If we turn on this bypass, you'll see the date has now been offset and changed from the original start date to now May of 2022. The last one we have in the stack here is any event with a property. So here we can say that we're going to find any event with a debit credit value upstream here, and we're going to change those values by 300%. So now we can turn on both of these upstream debit credit events and apply this value, and you'll see that both of them have been affected by 300%. Modifiers can be used to try different situations upstream here, and that's why you're seeing a decision event here. So we can either 1, use a null event to say that there's no change to an upstream event, or 2, we can bypass these particular values and compare the two scenarios against each other to see what the calculations look like with and without the modifier. In neither situation are we actually changing the values in the upstream debit credit events. We're just modifying them temporarily with the calculations. And that's the modifier event, one of our most powerful events that we have. Really important to note, modifiers are stackable. So modifications can lay on top of modifications on top of modifications. so that all of these can work collaboratively at the same time if you're looking at having compound modifications layered on top of each other.